kids meal. Please?
Right away.
Can you make that too?
The Burger King Kids Club. Just for fun, just for you.
There is truth in advertising, yes I swear. Got new Nikes on my feet and Vidal Sassoon in my hair. I can sure use a Budweiser Fruit of the Loom underwear. There is truth in advertising, I swear. Why would they lie to me when they love what they sell? Plus we all know that the liars have a special fire in hell. On the television, radio, and in the magazines, the advertising gods perpetuate the American dream. Advertising, let it be, let it be. Now I know that I don't need to buy everything they try to sell me, but so easily divided is a fool and his money. There is truth in advertising, let it be. Why would they lie to me when they love what they sell? Plus we all know that the liars got a special fire in hell. On the television, radio, and in the magazines, the advertising gods perpetuate American dream.
Thanks, Kim.
Hey, guys, do you see what I see? Wow. Awesome, Kidvid. I got it. Oh. Hang on, Jaws.
It's unusual for a company to have a group of mascots as opposed to a singular mascot, but that's precisely what happened with the Burger King Kids Club. The Burger King Kids Club, or the K Club, as they will be called from here on out to save time, started in the 1970s and went on into the 80s. The Burger King Kids Club program gave children coupons for selected products each month, a small toy and a surprise on the child's birthday. However, in 1989, they relaunched their children's meal program as the Burger King Kids Club in the United States and, for whatever reason, New Zealand. The Burger King Kids Gang, a multi-ethnic group of fictional characters, were created to promote the club meal by providing a group kids could relate to. This included Kidvid, a blonde Caucasian boy with sunglasses who loved video games and technology, was, of course, the leader. Boomer was a sports-loving Caucasian tomboy with red hair and a ponytail. IQ was a male Caucasian nerd with red hair, freckles, and glasses, a green lab coat, and a pocket protector. At the start, I'm assuming they had a meeting and thought, what 90s cliches can we shove into this thing? But then they followed those up with Jaws, a tall African-American boy who loved to eat, JD, the dog, and group's mascot, because even the mascots had a mascot, and surprise of all surprises, it was a goddamn dog. Lingo was a multilingual Caucasian Hispanic boy who liked art and had a horrible name that only coincided with a singular facet of his personality. Then came Snaps, the blonde Caucasian girl that always carried a camera, who, much like Jaws, was named after their hobby. But the absolute worst of all had to be Wheels, a Caucasian paraplegic boy in a wheelchair, because you know what every disabled person wants their nickname to be? Something that's directly associated to their disability. Not to be outdone by the damn near whiteness of it all, in early 2000, they introduced a new character, an Asian girl named Jazz, who loved music and wore a beret. An interesting side fact that we stumbled upon while writing this episode is from a blog called Artifacts of Disability, whose mission statement reads as, "For a senior colloquium on representing disability, students wrote these brief essays about a variety of representations of disability from any aspect of culture, including media, literature, art, education, and commercials." In this article, they focus solely, understandably, on the character of Wheels. I found this excerpt from the article particularly telling. Quote, "As a member of the club, I saw the little videos that the characters were in, but I do not think it struck me as odd that Wheels was in a wheelchair. In fact, the way the character is treated, it seems as though he's in the wheelchair of his own volition and only chooses to be in it because he likes the speed and mobility. The wheelchair is controlled by a joystick and included exhaust pipes coming out of the wheels. Rather than appearing as though the wheelchair represents some sort of affectation, it becomes the cool choice of a kid who just wants to go fast. End quote. The person who wrote this goes on to say that while it might have been solely an advertising ploy to try and cover all bases, hence the number of minority characters included and whatnot, the timing also seems to be strange considering 1990 was the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which would explain perfectly why marketing executives would choose to include a boy in a wheelchair as part of the kids club. Not because they necessarily respected disabled people, but simply because it was a good marketing decision, and would draw in those who saw wheels and thought, hey, he's just like me! Of all this then brings to light the question bubbling under the surface to begin with, do any of the non-white able-bodied characters in this club even belong here, outside of being a facet of marketing? Sure, this club was created to market to children, and sure, there's plenty of disabled and non-white children around who'd love to see themselves in a commercial for a national fast food chain. As we say today, representation is important. This isn't the first time that ethnic or disabled children were featured in things targeted toward children, especially in the 90s. You've got the enormous ethnic class of the Magic School Bus, or characters from cartoon shows like Hey Arnold, but that's entirely different. Those are television shows that show that it doesn't matter what race you are or how able-bodied you might be, you still belong to your peers. The Burger King Kids Club was not a television show, much as Burger King may have tried to promote it that way, and because of this difference, the inclusion of those ethnic characters, and wheels in particular, feels like nothing more than a cash grab for the wallet of the unrepresented.
Come on. Okay, everybody, say cheeseburger. Cheeseburger!
Speaking of cheeseburgers,
Let's go to Burger King. Look out, nature dudes. We're coming.
Burger King's taking Homer, Marge, and all the Simpsons camping, including you-know-who. Now you can get one Simpsons character and camping scene in every Kids Club meal at Burger King.
The Burger King Kids Club. Just for fun. Just for you.
Tangent aside, there's really no viable reason to be found as to why the K Club was eventually disbanded. Sure, we can circulate rumors day and night, changing times, aging demographic, but by 2005 they'd all had their last kids' meal and headed for the grown-up table. The club continues to operate and is the largest club of its kind in North America, despite this, and the characters can still be seen on the playground signs and decorations in some locations. The club continues to operate and is the largest club of its kind in North America, despite this, and the characters can still be seen on playground signs and decorations in some locations. But actually, I'm pulling your leg. There's a genuine reason why Burger King doesn't have children's advertising anymore. On September 12, 2007, Burger King announced it was joining the Council of Better Business Bureau Children's Food and Beverage Advertising Initiative. The program was a voluntary self-regulation program designed to adjust to advertising messages aimed at children so they would encourage healthy eating habits and lifestyles. As part of this new initiative, they stated that it would restrict its advertising aimed at children under 12 that uses third-party licensed characters to kids' meals, that meets its nutrition guidelines, and refrain from advertising in elementary schools, and refrain from product placement in media primarily aimed at children under 12. I suppose there are good things and bad things with this career move. Certainly, forcing kids to eat healthier is a good move on their part. But to kill off your entire ad division aimed at children, who are the sole consumer of fast food, is a risky move nonetheless. The Burger King Kids Club wasn't put out of its misery because of changing times or changing demographics. It was, if anything, put down because of parents changing attitudes and moral feelings towards the threat of fast food. Fast food, which honestly, the parent often bought for their children to begin with. Never forget that fact. You can advertise to a child as much as you want, but a child rarely has the money of their own to purchase your product, and thus it's their parents who are making these decisions and then demanding these companies change. And I recognize that sounds like I'm defending capitalism of some kind, but I assure you I'm not. I'm just attacking shitty parents to shirk responsibility onto a company that was solely doing its job, regardless of whether that job was good or bad. I I suppose this episode went slightly off the rails, and I apologize for that, but there really just wasn't much to say about the group itself, and instead all the interesting things whittled down to Wheels and the drama surrounding him. Either way, I remember these characters from their TV spots or the toys they had in the restaurants. They may not really be around much now, but that doesn't mean I'm revoking my Burger King Kids Club card anytime soon.
We're the Kids Club kids, we just wanna have fun. The Kids Club kids doing big is number one.